Here we go. All right. So the idea, suggestion for a focus for today, just have a nice big stretch, is considering the fascia. So I would take a nice big stretch, reaching from one fingertips across to the opposite leg, down to the toes, taking that stretch right across the body. Let's just have a think about the fascia. So nicely express in and out of the nose, take a nice big stretch. And then we'll clasp the hands to stretch the back of the body, chin to chest. So the fascia, we can think about this as the kind of the inner fabric of the body, where all the soft tissue attaches, or the tension fabric for the body. Just take that stretch side to side with the arms, just to feel where the release is in the back of the body. And then we'll take the counter stretch, clasping the hands behind the back and stretching across the chest. So if we think about the fascia as being that inner fabric, if I scrunch up the material here, I'm getting a pull right on the seam on the other side. So we think about trying to get the full stretch, so going to the end range movements in our stretches today. Let's just take that once more. Clasping the hands, we'll take it a little bit deeper with a bend in the knees, maybe looking under one armpit and then under the other. So it's a little bit more of a side stretch incorporated here. And then press away from the floor to roll the shoulders back and down. Again, clasp the hands with the uncomfortable grip, the other thumb on top, rolling the shoulders back and down, and getting a nice gap between that combined fist and your bottom. All right, shrug out the shoulders. So if we take that idea of stretching through the fascia into the arms, if we open the palms up, and stretch open wide, all the way back, then flip the palms, and then lead with the little fingers all the way forwards. So again, opening, drawing a big, wide open sweep, chest open wide, flip the palms, so wringing the arms forwards. A few more rounds like that. So to reach the fascia, we almost want to think about, if it was as simple as a handkerchief, we want to iron right into the four corners when we move. So the same thing if we lift the arms overhead, flip the palms to face upwards. Again, wring the arms, lift with that internal rotation of the arms, external rotation of the shoulders as we lower down. So going to the full range, reaching right into the fingertips, and then going in every possible direction in the arms, wringing forwards, wringing back, last time like that, internal rotation and external rotation, all the way down. Last one with the arms, just to think about that idea, across the body, so little finger lift, stretch across the body, and feel the impact. And then the other side, leading with a little finger, we're all the way up, stretching across the body, keep the feet on the floor. A couple more times each side, so stretching wide from one set of fingertips into the other, and the other way. Great. Still warming up the body though, let's take a figure of 8 with the hips. So soften the knees, feet a little bit wide, and draw a big circle of number 8 on the floor with the hips. So the hip leads forwards, side and back, gently. And see if you can go to the end range movement. So we're not trying to boost your flexibility, but just feeling a stretch a little bit deeper, going to the end range all the way around. And then complete the figure 8. Brilliant. Still with the idea of a stretch much deeper than we normally go, let's take the stretch into the top of the foot. You can have balance with a wall or a chair if it's handy. We want to slide the right toes directly back, bending my standing knee, and just placing the tops of the feet, the top of the back foot on the floor. And we're gently stretching, so it's bending the knee and slightly drawing forwards, finding length, and see if you can just feel a little bit of lengthening up the body. So we're concentrating on the middle toes to big toe, release in that back foot. Now watch, as I gently drop down over the little toe, really all my weight is in the standing leg, there's no forcing. But to take this a little bit deeper, I need to stretch and twist away. So make sure you've got your balance. So you're kind of pulling away, getting a stretch up into that twisted position if you're able. Otherwise, just feeling a little bit of length in the top of the foot. Breathe deeply. And then slowly release. Other side. Stretch, release to the top of the foot, the other side. So the foot is directly pointing back. A tilt in the pelvis, soft standing knee, and almost kind of gently easing down and drawing forwards to feel length in the top of the foot. Remembering, as we lower towards the little toe, we're not placing more weight, we're just trying to find the length from the little toe on the outside of the knee, maybe up the body into a little bit of a twist. And leave this for another occasion if you don't have a chair handy for support. Brilliant. And slowly ease out. Soften the knees, bend and stretch through the legs, and we'll gradually get a little bit bigger to stretch the backs of the legs. So as you bend the knee, just lengthen the back of the body. Chest on the thighs, and hold on the back of the knees or the calves just to give it an extra bit of traction down the spine. And then straightening up the legs, giving the backs of the legs a bit of a squeeze wherever needed. Couple more rounds of bending, a little bit deeper and stretching. And last time, bend and stretch. Roll up through the spine. And at the top, lift the head and roll the shoulders back and down. Brilliant. All right, let's go for a flat back fold. So toes pointing forwards, hip distance apart, roll the shoulders back and down. So we're back to Pilates here, but thinking about stretching right to your extremities. Breathe in, lifting the arms, press into the outline of the whole foot, be the tallest you can be. Now, find some tone in the core, and we're bending from the hips, feeling length from the base of the spine into the fingers. Now we want to keep the heels pressing down into the floor if we've got any niggles in the knees. It's pressing down through the heels and slightly softening the knees, which engages the muscles of the ankles and the knees to stabilize the knee. Now press into the whole of the foot, but squeezing the glutes, engaging the core to come back up. Let's just have a couple more of those. Breathing in, stretching the tallest you can be, then firm up the thighs, the glutes. You have neutral spine here to engage the core as we come into a fold. Nice and slowly, so we'll make sure we're not overloading the knees. Better to have a little soft bend in the knees rather than lock them. So it's that compromise between pressing down through the heels to stabilize the ankle and the knee, and compromise by pressing also into the ball of the foot to take the knee off lock. Let's make the next our last. Nice deep breath in, feeling length, fingertips to the base of the spine. Stretch wide, find space along the spine, and then press away from the floor, evenly through the feet, squeeze the glutes, and back up to standing. Float the arms down and give them a little bit of a shake. We're taking a side-to-side stretch, so legs out wide, initially toes pointing forward. So quick review from yesterday, we lift the ball of the foot, turn from the femur, and have the toes pointing out wide. But this time today, we're going to do it with both legs. So both balls of the feet lift and swivel, and we take a twist and tap the floor. Come up to standing, turn the feet, maybe one at a time all together, and tap. So let's take this side to side, nice and slowly. So the arms can wimble into that oppositional movement. Here we backstroke, change the angle of the toes, the direction the toes are pointing, so that we always have the knee tracking over the toes. Now, if this is tricky for your balance, I would stay here. If you can, think about stretching with a bend in the knees. So we're going for a bigger range of movement. So we take that arm across the body, we bend and stretch as if reaching something beyond the fingertips. So stick with this, because what we're going to do is we're essentially preparing for a revolved half moon side to side. Don't panic, it's in stages. Maybe when we've got a bend in the knee, we take some of the weight out of the back leg. There's no rush. We're all just on a journey in a direction, as long as we're working in the right direction and moving carefully with control. Doesn't matter, we can maybe revisit this class another time and go a little bit deeper. But throughout, just trying to take your mind back, your awareness back to the fascia. Just think, is my ironing straight into as many corners as possible? And breathing deeply in and out of the nose, going slow enough that you can pause at any point because you're owning every little bit of that movement. So many checkpoints. So we're adjusting the angle of the feet, the knee, gaze down and check the knees tracking over the toes. You're nearly there. So again, stretching wide. Every bit of this mini flow here gives us so many opportunities to stretch in all directions. So just think about finding a nice smooth line, like you're ironing everything out. So there's no tension left. Make the next set your last. So we can scale it down. We're getting a little bit tired. Into a tap. Well done. Shrug out the shoulders, brilliant. We're coming to a parallel squat. Toes pointing forward, shoulders back and down. And let's take a moment to breathe out. Find that pelvic tilt, the tone in the core. Keep squeezing the glutes and keeping a long neck. Let's bend the knees. Now let's just have a reminder of what we were talking about yesterday. To stabilize and support the knees, we want the knees tracking over the toes. And as I've just reminded you, that weight falls through the heels, fires up the ankle and knee muscles so that they're much more supported. So let's just take a few rounds of standing tall, finding your plumb line, and then bending the knees, keeping a long spine, long neck, knees tracking over the toes, and keeping some weight into the heels. If I come into the balls of the feet, there's a lot of movement that can come into the knees. I want to stabilize the knees, press into the heels to come back up to standing. Let's try and do that with the toes lifted. Press into the balls of the feet and the heels. Deep breath in to prepare. Keep the length in the spine and the neck, so the distance between the chin and the chest doesn't change. Long spine, long neck, and pressing back up to standing. Brilliant. Shake out the legs. We're going to come down onto the mat, onto all fours when we've finished releasing out this hip, right down to the toes. I'm trying to cover too many things today. That push-pull balance that I've been talking about, we're going to address that now as well. So take a roll down onto all fours. Instead of a regular cat-cow, we'll take a moving cat. So we'll start by sitting in child pose, arms out, extended. Now claw into the fingertips and draw your chest forwards as the hips lift, and get that pulling action into the arms, and look up and pause in your cow pose. Now chin to chest, we go to the pushing phase by pressing into the heels of the hands and stretching the back of the body to slowly sit back on the heels. So focus for here is pulling the chest forwards, long neck, working into the lats, into that spine extension. And then pushing away from the floor to assist getting a deeper flexion, rounding of the spine as you sit back on the heels. Couple more rounds. Be as vigorous as you like. Press into the fingertips, the underside of the knuckles, the heels of the hands. Try to keep the forearms parallel. Very easy for the elbows to start to go collapse out wide. We want to keep a more externally rotated position in the shoulders. Great. We're going to meet in tabletop with a flat back. We're going to extend the right leg out behind you, plant the ball of the foot and firm up the leg. Really squeeze the glutes, slight tilt in the pelvis. And now loading up the back of the leg, lift the leg, toes still pointing down to the floor, really firing up the glutes and upper thighs. And we're taking a balancing cat, lift the opposite arm. And come to where you can see. So we want to keep the weight to the level in the hips, the weight on that back lifted leg, and stretch. Now, again, think about the fascia. Can we think about where we're connecting the deepest muscles too, and lengthen and stretch and feel length through the body. Now with the breath, we'll breathe in and open the arm and leg simultaneously. Breathe out and close, maybe going further beyond the starting point. So go into the end range, cover as much space and movement as you can. If you want to lower the hand and just work with the leg, that's absolutely fine. We're side to side, so we're working into the hip and the shoulder joint, just exploring the range of movement and feeling length across the body rather than just thinking about that joint. Complete that set, lower the knee, other side. Extend your left leg, plant the ball of the foot. This just helps us to keep the hips stable. Now shoulders back and down, long neck, extend, lifting through, feeling that engagement in the back of the leg, squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis, pull your core in, and then lift the opposite arm. Pause for a moment to really stretch, shoulders are away from the ears. Press into the heel of that lifted leg to keep this back leg really active. And then with the breath, breathe in to open wide. Breathing out, going past that starting position all the way across the body, full range. Try to keep the arm and leg straight. Breathing deeply in and out of the nose. Remember to take out the arm if it's a step too far just for today. Shoulders down, long neck. And if we keep the gaze down to the floor, we won't be creasing up the back of the neck or losing length there. Amazing. Come back to your center and take a brief child pose, rocking on the thighs, easing out, head, neck, shoulders, chest melting down over the thighs. Great. We're coming up to sitting. Head last to come up, roll up through the spine, and let's extend the legs out in front of you. So think about diving. If I skip my arms back, rounding, reaching up, and breathing out into a fold. Sweep the floor, round back. So I'm taking the shoulders back, chest open wide. Gathering, stretching, and folding. Just have a few more in this direction. Nice big movement. We're working the core as we lean back. Remember from our last session, those who were part of it yesterday, as we lean back, our core muscles switch on to stop us from falling back. So just testing, switching on, awakening up those core muscles before we change direction. So here, I'm going to get you to sweep across the floor, scoop and lift, shoulders back and down, elbows into the waist. And again. Chest open, shoulders down. Nice, big, controlled movement. And if we close the eyes, we can start to think about that deep, clean, crisp sheet, or however you picture that inner fabric of the fascia. We're just ironing out any tension, finding length. And the next is your last. Drop the arms down and shrug out the shoulders. Okay, we're going to take a twist. So taking the legs in that mermaid position, let's everyone start with their knees pointing over to the left. We take a twist, and if we think about going to the end range, we maybe end up placing the hands a little bit further around behind and looking right over that left shoulder, jaw soft. And then we switch, lifting the legs over to the other side. So we're thinking about going to the end range movement, giving the fascia time to all smooth out. So stick with this side to side. So we can add a big movement with the arms, where the arm sweeps all the way behind and reach, across, and twist. Couple more rounds. Maybe you feel you're getting a little bit deeper. To slow it down, pause, feel where your end range movement is, where you can control the movement. Find release and try moving the head. Think about how we're so connected that every movement has repercussions for the rest of the body. So exploring, finding length, release, last set each side. Bringing out the waist, stretching across that back thigh, last side. Great. We're coming back onto all fours, and we're going to take a gate plank and a gate stretch. So from all fours, extend your near leg and lift. We're going to take a gate by gliding the corresponding hand down the leg and bending directly to the side. You have your gaze forward, so we've got a long neck, and here we're going to our end range movement. So see if you can feel the length from the knee up the body, right into the fingertips. Long neck. And then the other way, span the arms out wide, hands to the floor, into your side, your gate side plank, modified plank. Draw a big arc, once more each side, and then we change legs. Hand glides down the outside of the leg, long spine, long neck, a little bit of a squeeze in the glutes, so we have a neutral position for the hips, and a deep stretch down the side of the body. Think about going really deep to that fascia. Last time into your gate, and then we'll take it to the side, stretch into the fingertips. Try to avoid collapsing in the shoulders. We want to lengthen in all directions. Fabulous. Return to your tabletop, extend your other leg. The toes are pointing forwards. Your ankles hidden behind this bent knee, and we rise up. Hand gliding down the leg, take a gate. So remember to keep that pelvic tilt, bottom tucked, and stretch, lengthen. And spreading the bones of the fingers, reaching into the side plank, arms open wide. Another opportunity to feel length and release of the fascia, reaching overhead. Once more each side, expand, hand side bend, keeping the shoulders stacked. Almost have more of a sense of the chest trying to open up towards the ceiling. And last time, nice big flow, stretch. And let's come into a gate to come out of this and back onto all fours. Brilliant. Come onto your backs. Start by hugging the knees into the chest. Have a little rock on the spine. Okay, I'm going to take you into a movement with the hip. Extend one leg, one knee bent. Take the knee across the body and extend, bend, opening the hip and extend. I'm going to have to change my angle, otherwise I'm going to go through the wall. So we're taking this side to side, not particularly lingering, just feeling a stretch where it's available. So we're going for the full hip opening and then the internal rotation of the hips. So going gently side to side, but a nice continuous movement. Keep going with that. Let me change the camera. You're doing well. So stick with the same leg across the body. Great. See, this is a balloon there. Party house. So we extend across the body and extend. Again, last one on this side. We're working again to the extremes that we can reach with that hip. And let's switch legs. So bend the knee, hip opening, extend, bend across the body. Edging off, struggling for space here. Extend, bend, so side to side. Nice, deep, calm breath. The hip does lift here, but we're still getting to the extreme, the end range movement. Couple more, and I'll shimmy back onto my mat. So while we're working with a full range of mobility in the hip you're focusing on right now, let's still keep the chin tucked into the chest. Shoulder blades are nuzzled quite close to the spine to allow the chest to be able to relax and open. The shoulders become heavy. Focusing all into the hip. And then release both knees into the chest, have a little rock on the spine. Next one, we're used to cycling, but now we're going to take those Barbie doll feet. Imagine you're just about to step into high heels. So we've got a length right to the crease of the toes. Toes are curled up. So let's start by extending one leg and pausing to draw one knee in and really press into the ball of the foot that's extending. Going right to the end range, plug your tummy button back into the spine as we switch and power through the ball of the foot. So go side to side, but you go slow enough that you can use your core for the transition and keep that energy into the ball of the foot. Spread the toes and find length right into the top of the foot. Just helps us go a little bit deeper into the muscles, into the soft tissue. Stretching, see how far the extent, the impact you can feel throughout the body if you go slow enough and really extend, engage, and feel length. Last couple of sets, you're nearly there. So for the next last set, each side, we can close the eyes. And just focus on a steady breath in and out of the nose. And pausing to feel length. Try to think really deep. Deep, deep down. And then we'll hug knees into the chest and we're going to take a full body stretch. So a little rock on the spine. Let's release the arms out wide. Draw a circle around the base of the spine. And then take that circle in the other direction. Nice soft jaw, no clenching just because you're concentrating so hard. And then a full body stretch. Really stretch into the fingertips, into the toes. So point the toes, so you're stretching the fronts of the legs. And then curl the toes up to the face, so you're pressing the heel to the wall in front. Maybe we're even arching the back here. Stretching wide. Take the stretch across the body, so lengthen one leg, and then the other. And then lower the arms. Take the legs to a tabletop position, arms overhead, shoulders back, and take a gentle movement of stretching into a V as you breathe in, breathing out to return. Breathe in and stretch. Breathe out and return. Can we add Barbie doll feet? Breathe in, press into the balls of the feet and stretch, 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 keeping the core engaged. And breathe out in. We're rocking up to sitting, hold behind the knees and rock all the way up and come to a comfortable seated position. From here, we'll just take a gentle side to side flow, hand to the floor, reach up and over. And then the other side, chest wide open, full range. So remember, reaching as if beyond the fingertips. Once more each side, and then a twist, and then you know you're done. And hopefully feeling a little bit more lengthened out for the day. So as we come up to sitting, opposite hand to knee, take a twist, look over your shoulder, wring out the waist. And then other side, hand to knee, shoulders down, and twist. And to finish off, just take the legs out in front of you and give them a little bit of a shake. How are we doing? Okay, that's it. 30 minutes gone.